There's a guy standing in a showroom right now picking the wrong mower. He is not uninformed. He read the reviews, watched a few videos, and walked in with a budget. But the machine he is about to buy was chosen by a marketing department, not an engineering team. And the dealer standing next to him has a commission motive and zero obligation to explain the difference. This video names 5 zero-turn brands that win on recognition and lose on value, and 3 brands that professional operators load onto their trailers without a second thought. No heritage stories, no Super Bowl commercials, no badge loyalty. The brands dominating the showroom floor and the brands dominating the job site are not the same brands. They have not been for a long time. If the dealer was never going to tell you that, you are in the right place. Husqvarna has been building outdoor power equipment since 1689. That is not a typo. The Swedish brand built 3 centuries of credibility across chainsaws, commercial trimmers, and professional-grade equipment that earned its reputation the hard way. That history is real, and it deserves acknowledgement. What it does not deserve is a free pass on the residential zero-turn lineup sitting on the dealer floor today. The residential models run roughly $3,000 to $5,500, depending on the configuration. And when you are standing in front of one, the orange badge is doing an enormous amount of selling that the specs underneath it are not always earning. What most buyers never think to ask is which factory that machine actually came from, because Husqvarna operates under a parent manufacturing structure that shares platforms and componentry across multiple brands. The machine wearing the orange badge and the machine next to it wearing a different name may have more in common than the price difference suggests. Owner forums tell the rest of the story. Deck durability and spindle longevity concerns surface consistently on mid-range residential models. That is a completely separate conversation from the brand's commercial reputation, which remains legitimate. But the commercial reputation is not what you are buying at that price point in that showroom. 3 centuries of credibility is a real thing. Whether it followed that mower off the assembly line and onto the dealer floor is the question nobody behind that counter is going to raise before you sign the paperwork. Cub Cadet started as an International Harvester product in the 1960s. That origin matters because International Harvester meant something specific to the people who bought it. It meant American manufacturing accountability, a brand with its name on the machine and its reputation on the line if that machine failed. Buyers who remember that era carry real goodwill toward the Cub Cadet name, and that goodwill is entirely justified by what the brand used to represent. The question is what it represents today. Cub Cadet currently sits inside the MTD products portfolio. MTD is owned by Stanley Black & Decker. Stanley Black & Decker also owns Troy-Bilt and Craftsman outdoor power equipment. Residential zero-turn pricing runs between $2,500 and $4,500 depending on the line. That is the price. Here is what that ownership structure means for the machine behind it. When a single parent company manages multiple brands across multiple price tiers, the engineering incentive to build genuinely distinct products weakens. The business logic points towards shared platforms, shared componentry, and differentiated badging. What you are often purchasing is the same core machine wearing a different name through a different dealer network at a price premium the badge earned rather than the current engineering justified. You are not writing a check to an independent company with its own engineering culture and its own accountability to your specific product line. You are buying one offering inside a very large portfolio, answering to shareholder expectations first. That is a different thing entirely, and the price should reflect it. Ariens earned its reputation in winter. If you have owned an Ariens snowblower, you already know what the name means. It starts when nothing else will. It runs when conditions make every other machine quit, and it keeps working long after the warranty conversation becomes irrelevant. That reputation was built honestly over decades of winter equipment that performed exactly the way the badge promised it would. The zero-turn segment is a different story. The Icon and Apex residential lines run from $3,000 to $5,500. At those price points, the deck configurations and transaxle ratings land in territory that is highly comparable to alternatives priced significantly lower. The engineering that makes an Arian snowblower the last machine standing in a February blizzard does not automatically transfer to a summer cutting deck, and the pricing does not always reflect that distinction. What is actually happening here is a well-understood psychological phenomenon. When a machine earns your confidence in one category, that confidence travels. It feels rational to assume the same company that built your bulletproof snowblower applied the same standards to everything else with its name on it. Corporate manufacturers understand this dynamic better than most buyers do, and they price accordingly. The residential Arian's zero turn is a functional machine. Nothing about it is a scam. But a meaningful portion of what you're paying for is the memory of a driveway that got cleared without argument on the worst morning of last January. That is a snowblower's reputation doing a lawnmower's selling. Those are not the same credential. Ferris makes genuinely excellent commercial equipment. That needs to be said first because what follows is not an argument against the engineering. The independent suspension system is a real innovation, not a brochure claim. For a professional operator running a machine 8 hours a day across uneven terrain, the reduction in operator fatigue and mechanical stress over thousands of hours is measurable, documentable, and worth every dollar of the premium. The problem is not the technology. The problem is who is being sold that technology and at what price. Prosumer and residential Ferris models run between $5,000 and $8,000 or more, depending on configuration. That pricing structure makes complete sense for a commercial landscaper accumulating over 1,000 operating hours every single season. It is an entirely different calculation for a homeowner mowing once a week on a suburban lot. Here is the math. Ferris does not put on the hang tag. A homeowner cutting 1 acre weekly across a 10-year ownership window accumulates roughly 500 total operating hours. The suspension premium that pays for itself across 5,000 commercial hours never returns its value at 500. The tolerances engineered for a professional's workload are being purchased by someone who will never come close to stressing them. Professional validation is the most powerful sales tool in any equipment category. When it attaches to a pricing structure calibrated for commercial operators, the residential buyer absorbs the full cost without ever receiving the full benefit. You are not buying the wrong machine. You are buying the right machine for the wrong customer. John Deere has been building equipment since 1837. The agricultural credibility is real. The commercial reputation is legitimate. The green and yellow badge represents one of the genuinely great American manufacturing stories, and nothing in this segment changes that. 180 years of earned trust deserves that acknowledgement before anything else gets said. In the residential zero-turn segment, that trust is the single most expensive thing on the invoice. The Z300 and Z500 residential series run between $3,500 and $6,500 and above. Independent equipment comparisons consistently show competing machines at $1,000 to $1,500 less carrying equivalent deck sizing, engine displacement, and frame specifications. That gap does not exist because John Deere engineered something the competition could not replicate at that price. It exists because of what the price has to support. It maintains the largest dealer network in the category. It runs a marketing operation that no residential competitor can match. Every one of those costs travels with the machine from the factory to the showroom floor and lands on the price tag you are looking at right now. The resale value argument is real. The badge holds. But you paid the premium on the way in, and you are recouping it on the way out. That is not a deal. That is a loan with a green paint job. The tractor that built American agriculture is a legend. The residential zero-turn carrying its name is a different product built to a price point that has to support a brand worth tens of billions of dollars. You are not buying the legend. You are financing it. Gravely shares a corporate roof with Arians. They share the same parent company and the same manufacturing facility in Brillion, Wisconsin. That fact alone would disqualify it from this list if the engineering focus stayed the same on both sides of the factory floor. It does not. Where Arians tilts toward the residential buyer, Gravely tilts toward the commercial operator. The ProTurn lines run $5,500 to well over $10,000, depending on configuration. That investment buys heavy-duty frames, high-volume spindles, and hydraulic systems built for punishing daily duty cycles that a homeowner will never come close to replicating. Used Gravely commercial units hold strong resale values across the industry. The market does not lie about what an uncompromised chassis is worth after real hours in real conditions. The corporate structure that works against you in the Arians showroom works for you here. Same research and development pool, entirely different application. Points or extra formatting, 1:20 p.m. Bad Boy Mowers started in a welding operation in Batesville, Arkansas. No heritage marketing, no century-old legacy to borrow credibility from. Just a company that looked at what the badge brands were charging and decided to build more machine for less money and let the owners explain it from there. The founding logic was straightforward. Heavier frame gauge, larger deck sizing, comparable engine options, lower price point. If the spec sheet is honest, the spec sheet is the marketing. Commercial and prosumer lines consistently undercut major competitors at equivalent specifications by margins that are difficult to ignore once you see them side by side. The warranty terms compete favorably. The growing commercial fleet presence reflects operators who did the math independently and reached the same conclusion without being advertised to. The name sounds like someone's marketing decision. The machine underneath it is an engineering decision. Those two things are not the same. With Bad Boy, the engineering is doing the work. Skag Power Equipment was founded in 1983 in Mayville, Wisconsin. They have been privately held since day one, while every major competitor around them was acquired, merged, or absorbed into a larger portfolio. That independence is not a brand story. It is an operational reality that shapes every engineering decision, every pricing call, and every quality control standard in ways that shareholder accountability simply cannot replicate. They build the Velocity Plus deck and the Cheetah and Tiger Cat lines. Commercial configurations run $7,000 to $15,000 and above. None of it is cheap, and none of it is built for the buyer shopping on price alone. The value calculation happens entirely in lifetime operating hours. Professional landscapers run Skag machines 2,000 to 3,000 hours before requiring major powertrain attention. At those numbers, the long-term cost per acre is not close. Skag tops commercial preference surveys consistently. Their used market retention says everything the company never bothers to advertise. The professionals found them and stayed. The brands fighting hardest for your attention in that showroom are usually the ones engineering least for your money under the hood. That is not a coincidence. That is a business model. The professionals are not quiet about their equipment choices by accident. They found machines that start, run hard, and hold value after real hours in real conditions. Badge recognition had nothing to do with it. Your mower does not need the most recognizable name on the market. It needs to work every time you need it to work and still be worth something when you are done with it. If the dealer floor was never going to have this conversation with you, now you know where to find it.